like a good example of this is Gary Vaynerchuk,
Sure.
right? Everything he puts his name on, where he created, he could sell VaynerMedia. And I think the people, even though he's the figurehead, I think it's from my point of perspective, I see it as going, they're following his framework and his belief system, his methodology. If I bought VaynerMedia, I know right now, or if I was a client of VaynerMedia, I know Gary's not on my account. I know he's not a strategist on that account. I just went to VaynerMedia because I saw him speak on stage and I was like, man, I really like what they're doing. But I know if they sold, I think they would still continue on down that road. Or think of like Steve Jobs. He was his own brand. When he died, sure, Apple probably took a little dip, but then everyone from like, I think Tim Cook and all those guys, they still believed in what Steve did. And so that company kept accelerating. And now I think that's one of the biggest companies in the world. But I always like hearing everyone's thoughts because I had the same thing. Or like even you mentioned Gino Wickman.
Yeah.
Gino sold EOS.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that deal. Maybe you do.
A little bit.
Yeah. So like, did he have to stay for a long time? Like,
yeah, what I think Gino did well, and to some extent Gary Vaynerchuk did well, and certainly Steve Jobs, is the brands superseded the people, right? So if you look at EOS as a brand, it's actually more well known than Gino Wickman, even though Gino's got a great reputation and has got a huge presence and so forth. EOS is a bigger brand now. In some cases, I don't know Gary. I don't know VaynerMedia. I think he's done good work in separating to some extent his surname from his company name. While folks in the know VaynerMedia, the Vayner is Vaynerchuk. It's not actually Vaynerchuk Media. So like you could also be not in the know and have no idea who Gary is and think, well, VaynerMedia is kind of a cool name. Like it's got a kind of a slick name. And so it works with or without Gary. And I think whether VaynerMedia would be worth as much without Gary, I'm not sure. It depends if he's been able to create processes such that clients are happy with the Vayner way, if you will, without Gary kind of gracing their account. And I don't know enough about the business to speak one way or the other whether that's the case. Again, in Steve Jobs' case, certainly he had a big, obviously emblem, a huge, personal brand. But clearly Apple, the brand was more important. And so I think if you're falling into that trap as an agency owner, maybe your surname is in the agency, it's Smith and Company. And it's like, I'm the Smith and Company. And I don't know how to separate myself. I would just encourage you to brand the processes underneath you. So if you do have the equivalent of the Vayner way, this is the 5, step process we use to onboard a new client, or these are the 3 things that we do before we, unveil any new initiative. Like if you got those, I would certainly encourage you to codify them, brand them separately from you personally, because I think over time, those brands can become more important than your namesake. In the absence of those brands, we're left wondering, right? Like we're left kind of wondering, are those people really just the company, right? Like is Harpo worth anything without Oprah? I don't know. I don't know how well she's done codifying her kind of methodology. But I think if you find yourself in that process, really dig into kind of what are the names of our processes and brand those, productize those as best you can.
I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.